This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Welcome back, everybody, to Wrestling Omakase. It is episode number 120, and this week we'll be kicking off our year in review series. So, if you're new to the podcast, if this is your first year listening, I'll quickly go over what that is. But this is our third year doing it. Basically, for the last 6 weeks of 2019, we're going to be talking about a certain promotion or a certain type of wrestling, and going over what their year looked like. We basically go through as much of the year as we can, cover all the big shows and matches, and talk about, stuff you may have missed. And then for like award season consideration, we give our match of the year list for that promotion or wrestling type, best of the year, most outstanding, all that kind of stuff to help you out as you're doing your year-end award lists. And hopefully you find some stuff that you want to go back and watch if you didn't see it in real time. So this week, we're starting the series off with DDT, and I'm very pleased to be joined by a returning guest, Jamie from the Dramatic DDT blog. Hi, Jamie.
Hello. Since I don't podcast that often, this is my annual reminder that I do not know how to pronounce half of the names on this list. So just to saying this in advance, I want to apologize to Yuki Ueno, Yukio Sakaguchi, Nobuhiro Shimatani, and I always have trouble with this name, Chris Brooks. Apologies for getting all those names wrong.
The best part is, there's like at least a 10% chance he might listen. So shout out to Chris Brooks for having a great year at DDT. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so this is I believe your second appearance, right? You did one other appearance to preview last year. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, but this is obviously, I figured you'd be a great guest to do the DDT year in review episode, since you've obviously watched all this stuff. So we're going to talk all about,
is Haku not available?
I'm sorry?
Was Haku not available?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't ask Haku. I guess I could have asked him. I figured that man's busy enough.
My reputation. That's what he's doing.
My favorite thing on Twitter is when somebody tags the Dramatic DDT account like it's actually the real DDT. Because I think the best example of that was when somebody tagged and said like WWE should buy at Dramatic DDT, and you gave your your list of demands to sell the blog. Yeah,
I always kind of get embarrassed that I've been doing this for almost 10 years now, and I'm still not sure if I've done a good job explaining that this is just a unofficial fan blog I do as a hobby. And I figured that the few times I had wrestlers of just the indie scale use my accounts contacting DDT, I just don't correct them, because I figure if you can't figure that out, you don't deserve to get a booking. That's my mindset towards it.
But yeah, I mean, for what before DT English Update, you basically were the only English language resource for DDT. So I get being a little more confused about that before English Update came along. But you'd think after English Update and especially in the age of Twitter, where like even the DDT Universe account, like tweets in English sometimes. You'd think people would figure it out, but I guess
I think they have, because not like that account is it's gotten more followers now. It's getting more attention, especially with the DDT and Tokyo Joshi shows. So like I'm still happy to do this as a hobby, but I'm fine with Haku and the guys over there doing their work and spreading the word of DDT around the internet even further.
Yeah. But yeah, so DDT, obviously, like you said, you've been doing this for 10 years. Is this your 10th year? Like 2019, was that your 10th year doing it?
I think it'll be next year, because I began the Sumo Hall show from 2010. So that would be the second Peter Pan.
Is there any like reflection as you hit like the 10th year? Like, I know you're starting to get up to the level of like, like Jay doing the Dragon Gate site and stuff.
I don't know how I got here, but I'm fucking delighted. I think that's the best way I can say.
But there's no like thought of giving a break or shutting it down or anything.
Not really. Like, it gets busy towards some weeks because there's like 3 or 4 different sub brands that run shows at the same time. I figured the only way I ever lose interest would be if DDT was to, say, change management and go in a completely different direction. I just love the wacky stuff about the company and the silliness that surrounds it, and I feel that's the stuff I want to talk about just as much as the actual wrestling. So no interest in leaving it just yet. I figure if it ever changes their identity, that might be when I leave.
Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, so DDT, we're going to talk about it here. We're not going to talk about Tokyo Joshi, I should say, because we're going to save that for the Joshi episode in a few weeks. I mean, we'll touch on them, I guess, here or there where they interact with DDT, but
I think there's 1 or 2 mentions that would have.
Yeah, so like the main Tokyo Joshi discussion will be on the Joshi episode, which I believe is in 2 weeks. I should have had the schedule in front of me. It might be, I think it's 2 weeks. So the Joshi episode, that'll be coming up, and we'll definitely talk Tokyo Joshi in that episode. We're also not going to talk a ton of Basara or Gambare just because I don't watch them that often. If you want to bring them,
I only ever watch them when they do the big Kyokan shows. The rest I just follow.
Yeah, that's me too. I usually watch the Korokins, but I don't really watch anything else. There's only so many hours in a day. What are you going to do? But yeah, I mean, like Basara obviously is leaving DDT at the end of this year, so I assume
they are currently in the process of leaving. I think, I don't know, is there like a weird transition period for companies when they split off for 3 months? Because I think they're currently in the process of doing it, but it's not like 100% done until January.
Yeah, they stopped like printing descriptions or something on the DDT website. That's what you've been saying.
All they do is just posting match lineups and the results. Now they have a blog as well, but they barely write anything on it.
I do think a lot of Western fans are a little worried about how they're going to follow Basara after they split off. And I mean, there's no announcement yet about like how they're going to stream or anything, right?
No, there's nothing. Just that I think it will be off DDT Universe, unfortunately. I think the shows that are already on the site will stay there, but anything new might not be part of the service.
Because I mean, like after Hard Hit left, it's become very difficult to find them. Yeah, find shows to air.
Mm-hmm.
So people are probably worried about the same thing with Basara, but maybe they'll be on Nico. I don't know, something like that, which recently got you can order that through YouTube now. So maybe there will be legal streaming options still. I guess we'll have to wait and see. But their Korokins usually do air on Samurai TV, I think. So you think we'd at least so you think we'd at least see that. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. Maybe it wouldn't surprise me if like they got some deal with Samurai to air more of their shows or something, because Samurai, I don't know if you're not a longtime fan, you probably don't know a ton about this, but if you look at the Samurai TV schedule, they've gotten like battered by all these streaming services. Like they used to have so many more live All Japan and DDT and Stardom. Well, I don't think ever live for Stardom, but like all these promotions used to have way more shows on Samurai, and now like they're all on like tape delay. Huh?
Is it all repeats now? Because I know for a lot of the mid 2010s, they had just like random repeats in like morning and afternoon slots.
Yeah, they still do the morning random repeats, but the big issue is like they have less. Like DDT used to be like a big promotion for them, and they used to air all the Corkins live and all the big shows live, and now, the Corkins usually air like on a tape delay, if they air at all. So it's gotten, I think the Rise of Universe has been a big thing there, and I think they run less All Japan shows too. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but I think they run a little bit less All Japan. I think they run about the same amount of New Japan. But they usually only had like Corkins and stuff for New Japan anyway, because the bigger shows were always on TV Asahi. But
yeah, that sounds a bit grim.
But yeah, so I think maybe they could make a deal with with Basara and get more of their shows on there. They could use some new live shows on their schedule. So maybe we'll wait and see. But that's obviously
they might sound doomed to the occupation of the indie show.
Yeah, that's true too.
It's that scale of venue they're still running.
Yeah, so I guess we'll wait and see there. I like it. That's a good point though. You could always check out Occupation of the Indies and see them on there, I suppose. Would they cut that back to once a month? I was bummed because they used to be like twice a month. But
I remember when they had a set. They used to have a set.
Yeah,
and now it's just like some room in the building.
Yeah. Battlemen used to be 5 days a week, and now it's 3 days a week. So they cut back a bunch of stuff. But, I assume their subscriptions are got hurt by all the 10 million streaming services now. But
yeah.
All right. That's enough of Samurai TV talk, I guess. Let's talk about DDT. Their year began on January 3rd with the Maji Manji Super New Year Special, the All Seats 2,000 yen show. First of all, I wanted to mention the show as the first Cork in the year just because I had to pour one out for Maji Manji. That was such a great part of 2018, having that weekly show, and it does not exist this year. I really miss it. I don't know. Do you
yeah, the absence was felt this year because they crammed so much into that show when it was on the air.
Yeah. It was just so much fun stuff. The main takeaway from this first Korakuen, I guess, would be the all out beating Strong Hearts to win back the 6-man tag titles in the main event. The Strong Hearts thing kind of went away faster than I thought it would.
Yeah, it fizzled out, and I kind of get the sense that they've lost their lust around the entire indie scene as well. I kind of wish there was more to be done with it, but all that was left after this was a 3-way tag in one of the Sumo Hall shows, and there was that joke they did with Hirata and Shima on one of the Kokens.
Yeah. So it felt like it back at the at Peter Pan in November of the previous year, like this was going to be like a long-term thing that would take them through 2019. It just didn't work out that way, and they ended up going to Big Japan. I guess they're still in Big Japan. They were just on the Sumo Hall show a few weeks ago, but now they're popping up at 0-1 now, which is like you're really starting to fucking scrape the bottom of the barrel if you're showing up in 0-1 in 2019.
Yeah, and I figure Shima is busy with AEW commitments now, so probably less of an interest.
Yeah. Anything you remember from that Korakuen on the January 3rd Korakuen?
That was when Shinya Aoki started wrestling for them this year, was it? Or was he already?
I don't see him on the card. I'm looking. The main thing that stands out. Sorry. He was in the boxing glove title. Yeah.
So no, he was already there, and remember the All In guys? The fake version of Tiger Mask 5, and I can't remember which one was Hen China.
Yeah, I don't remember Hen China. But
because they did the parody of All Out, so I think this was like the end of using those micro indie wrestlers.
Yeah, that was the end of them. Definitely missed 5th generation Tiger Mask. I wanted to mention a little match from 2 days later that easily might have escaped people's notice. At the Fighting Theater 2019 show at Kitazawa Town Hall, the main event here for the KOD tag titles and Strongest K tag titles from the now former Kaintai Dojo was Moonlight Express, Mao and Mike Bailey against Makoto Oishi and Shiori Asahi. That match is awesome. So it's definitely one that's a 4-star match. I'm sure a lot of people missed because it wasn't on a Korakuen or a major show. So I wanted to point that one out as a really cool match.
That one's under the radar, especially since the idea of double champions was kind of forgotten about as the year went on.
Yeah. What the fuck happened to them with the Strongest K titles? I assume they dropped them pretty quick, right?
They did. They held on to them for a bit, but I couldn't tell you who they lost it to.
It looks like Kaiji Tomato and Taishi Takizawa. So yeah, you're right. They did hold them for a little while. They came back in Kantai Dojo and defended them on their Korakuen show against Ayato Yoshido and Take Nagai. Then in March in Chiba against Dinosaur Takamura or Dinosaur Takuma and Kotaro Yoshino, and then they lost them on April 13th at Korakuen at Kaiji Tomato and Taishi Takizawa. And I believe that was was it no, it wasn't the last Kantai Dojo show. Okay.
No,
so I don't know what happened.
Closer to the summer.
Yeah. So
the thing is, I don't follow K Dojo, so anything that happened on their side of the storyline was completely lost on me.
Yeah, I didn't see any of that other stuff either, honestly. The next Korakuen Hall show was January 27th, Sweet Dreams 2019. The main event was Daisuke Sasaki and Harashima defeating Konosuke Takeshita and Shinya Aoki. The main thing that stood out to me on this show was the Kota Umeda 7-match trial series, match number 7, Shuji Ishikawa defeating Kota Umeda in 13:02. That's an awesome match. Probably the best match of the Umeda trial series.
Yeah, and I think probably the saddest story of the year was Umeda leaving DDT, because him and I really liked that kind of style of wrestling he does, and it's one that is kind of needed in DDT. Like, I know we have Sakaguchi, but having a young blood character doing that would have been swell. But family is important, I guess.
Yeah, well, I mean, the deal was he had to go home to help his family business, right? That's what happened.
And he wanted to retire completely, but he was kind of told, no, we'll just say you're leaving the company. If you ever have a second chance to come back, we'll let you come back.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's basically he doesn't think he'll ever be back, but they did want to leave that open as a possibility, basically. So, which I guess makes sense. But yeah, so that was this Korakuen. I'm trying to think what else happened on here. There
was a Sakaguchi and El Lindaman match, because all the jokes about Lindaman being this short stack of dynamite wanting to fight everyone, and he goes up against Sakaguchi.
There's also a 3-way with Masa Takanashi, Shima, and Mao, which led to the 3-way tag title match at Judgment. But yeah, this was a lot. This is like a Judgment build-up show, basically. And there was an Iron Man heavy metal weight title battle royal with Asuka winning. So I remember Asuka, had a pretty cool year here, and Shinsuke Nakamura was there, so that's cool. Mm-hmm. Let's see what happened next year. I believe the next show would be first we should talk about Muscle, because that was an awesome show. So February 16th, we have the first of a 2-night Ryogoku, 2 nights at Ryogoku with the Muscle Mania 2019 and Ryogoku. We're in our second career. Now, do you want to give a little bit of background on what Muscle is for people who might not be aware, since this has been inactive for 5 years or 6 years or something?
Yeah, originally around 15 years ago, Muscle Sakai, who is Super Sasadango Machine now, he created this parody of the Hustle brand, which he called Muscle. And it was just a complete another piss take of whatever he could think of. It started off as ripping off the Hustle characters, but then it just became, if he had an idea to do, say, a quiz show or a exam or a talent contest, the shows just became whatever him and his mates in the business wanted to do. It only lasted, I think, up until his retirement in 2010, but they kind of brought it back 10 years later to... Trying to remember, do you remember the reason why they brought it back?
I think the joke was about the jokes had a lot to do with the Olympics. I remember that.
Yeah, there was some of that.
They kept talking about how the Olympics, but I don't remember there's an exact reason why they brought it back. I think it just Well,
I mean, they had the 2 similar hard shows to do, and I think they decided to do something very different for the first one.
And this drew like surprisingly well. I mean, this drew over 4,000 fans, almost the exact same of what Judgment drew. I mean, Muscle Mania drew 4,115 and Judgment drew 4,177, which was actually kind of down for a DDT Sumo Hall show. So it makes me think that people picked between the two shows, and some people picked Muscle Mania. So, I mean, this is like, if you're the kind of person, what's that?
With the Muscle show, there was a lot of celebrity involvement as well, so that kind of got maybe people that would have.
I know, like one of the matches was like a battle royal to decide a new member of Junretsu, who's like I guess like a male idol group or a male singing group that like just lost a member to a big scandal. So I think that was kind of a big story, like a story in Japan. I mean, I saw like mainstream stories about it, so it's like, oh, Junretsu.
Oh yeah, and that battle royal was won by Andre's Giant Panda, and he had his own scandal going on, so they kicked him out.
Yeah, because the scandal with Tsukasa Fujimoto, right? Where he like kissed her. But yeah, this is a great. This was an awesome show. I mean, look, if you're the type of person who's like, I only like DDT's wrestling, I don't like the comedy, you absolutely should never watch this show. But because it's basically all comedy. But if you like DDT comedy, you will love this show. I mean, this just had tons of great stuff. And in the main event with Honda and DJ Nira was actually like kind of a good match, and I think probably stunned people. And I think everybody thinks of Antonio Honda as like being very one note, but like the dude can kind of wrestle too. And I think he showed that a few times this year, and this was probably the first time that he showed he can be a surprisingly good wrestler.
I feel like the attention DDT has nowadays compared to 5 or even 10 years ago, this was a breakout year for Honda.
Yeah, for sure. So, but yeah.
Why the fuck did DJ Nira headline Sumo Hall? I just want to say that out loud.
It is.
I know
amazing.
It wasn't advertised. It was a surprise match, but fucking hell, what a surprise!
Yeah. What did you think? Do you have any other thoughts on the show in general?
I remember was it Maki Ito and Konosuke Takeshita had that weird chop battle with the comedian. They kind of got pervy at one point, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I love this show. I don't know about you, I thought this was a great show.
It is one of the most bizarre wrestling shows you will watch this year.
Yeah. The following night, we had DDT Judgment 2019, the 22nd anniversary show, which drew, like I said, 4,177 in Sumo Hall. I thought this was a little disappointing, and on the I want to clarify when I say that, I mean on the DDT Big Show scale, because I think DDT, does the best supercards of anyone in the world as far as like a ton of really good, awesome matches, a ton of really funny stuff, just putting on like a huge, like, the sheer amount of different stuff on the undercard. Like these are usually like my favorite shows of the year, for any promotion. And I did think this show was a little under the standard of, DDT big shows from the past few years. Even what the other big shows from this year, I think this was below them, as we'll talk about. But it still had a few matches I thought were awesome. The KOD Openweight title main event with Sasaki and Takeshita, I gave 4.5 stars. I thought they really pulled it out of the fire with a crowd that was a little bit like down at first, but really like by the end of it, I thought it was an awesome, awesome match. And that was obviously Takeshita defeating Sasaki to become the new KOD Openweight champion. The other match I thought was awesome was a 4-star match with T-Hawk and Akito on the undercard, which was really good. That went about 14 minutes, but that was just an awesome match. Disappointing, on the other hand, Marufuji kind of continued his pattern of not having great matches in DDT with Tetsuya Endo in the semi-main event. So, if that match delivered a little bit, it would have been better. I didn't really love Harashima or Shinya Aoki either. But it just felt like there was a little less comedy too, probably because, we just had Muscle the night before. So that might have been part of it too. But yeah, I don't know. What did you think of Judgment?
Yeah, the thing with Endo is, like, he, as talented as he is, he's only as good as the effort you give him. Like, he's not the one that's going to raise the stakes by himself. So, Marufuji kind of... I don't know. I don't feel Marufuji's all to blame for that match either.
Mm.
But that wasn't much. And what was that? The Aoki match. Like, I don't know. Him and Harashima didn't really mesh well.
Yeah.
Like, I don't
have
memory of that match.
I thought they had a better match at Korakuen or something. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but maybe I could have sworn they had a different match at Korakuen that was better. But.
Yeah, but the two notable things from that show you left out were the debuts of Pokotan, the mascot, and there was Yukio Noya's. It was his first appearance for DDT, but I think he would sign with the company a few months later. Yeah.
So Yukio Noya, of course, the giant ex-sumo, or the son of an ex-sumo wrestler, I should say.
Grandson.
Grandson. Okay.
Yep.
He came from Real Japan. So
yeah,
obviously, definitely, probably saw more of a future in DDT than Real Japan, which I can't really blame him.
Well, the thing is, like, he actually is a big fan of like DDT's wacky comedy, and he wanted to do that rather than the serious wrestling stuff. So more power to him.
Yeah, makes sense. So that's Judgment and Musclemania. Again, if you missed those shows, I would say go back and watch Musclemania if if you love the comedy, because it was a really, really funny show. There's a lot of dialogue though, so you're going to have to really go back and you can follow along with Jamie's results on the Dramatic DDT page. That'll help a lot, or you could go back and scroll way back to February for the DDT English update page on it, because there's like a quiz show on Musclemania. There's a lot of other talking, so you definitely gonna want to follow along there. And then Judgment, there's a couple really good matches, but it's kind of
I'll mention one more here. There was the hardcore 6-man tag match. It was Damnation against Takagi, Chigusa Nagao, and Ryuji Ito, and it was when Takumi Oroha was on the Damnation team.
Yeah.
Like if you're into like just the scrappy hardcore matches, that'll be one to watch.
Sure. So that's another one to check out. And but yeah, overall, I would definitely call it the weakest of the three big shows. I don't know if you would agree, but
maybe.
Yeah. The next big DDT show, it looks like it is. Oh, do you want to mention quickly the Basara Korakuen, since I guess you said you watched it? That had Ryoto Nakatsu against Izami Kodaka for Union Pro Max title was the main event. That's about the only thing I remember from the show, and I remember that being pretty good. But
I don't have much memory of it, to be honest. Let me just see what the lineup of.
We had the Best Stretch Man 6-man against the Brahmins and Trans Hiroshi as a semi-main. I remember the Yokohama Shopping Street 6-man elimination match. Oh yeah, Hideki Suzuki worked this show well. But yeah, I don't remember a ton of the undercard.
No memory of any of this stuff. No memory of any of this stuff. Move on.
The DDT Into the Fight 2019 Korakuen on March 21st. This show I remember liking a lot. First of all, this had the Michael Nakazawa 5-on-1 handicap matches to send him off, which then became a 6-man tag. So that was really funny stuff. And then the main event had the DDT Extreme title 2 out of 3 falls match with Harashima and Muscle Sakai, which again I remember being very funny. Like there was like a whole dialogue. I can't remember. Like basically, I think they had to play like almost like red light, green light or something, right? And they got like basically got a cell phone call from Nakazawa. And Nakazawa's like, help, my friend set up this promotion in America, but our other best friend doesn't want to come. And then Harashima, I think, is like, oh, you're talking about Kenny and Koda, aren't you? So that was really funny. But yeah, so that match, that main event was really funny stuff. So definitely check that out if you like, again, if you're into the comedy stuff. But the big standout to me here is this is the beginning of the rise of Sendai Girls here, where Chihiro, Dash Chizako, and Meiko Satomura defeat All Out for the KOD 6-man titles in an awesome match.
This is one of the best DDT matches of the year, without a doubt.
Yeah, this one was really, really good. I went 4 1/4. It started a long, a lot of interaction with the Sendai Girls, which is going to continue because Chihiro is going to be in the DO, which is starting this week. So yeah, I mean, like this is kicked off some really good stuff, and this match, if you missed it, definitely one worth going back and checking out.
Like even a great finish as well, which but I won't spoil just in case if you haven't seen it yet. But it was one of those kind of link attacks that links into another attack that just looks fantastic.
Yeah, for sure. And this show on the undercard also had Riki Choshu, which was cool, and Choshu teaming up with Higuchi and Ueno against Kudo and Sakaguchi and Goto Ihashi. It was a payoff of when Ihashi had been in that Choshu tag. Yeah, which was, I thought this was a really cool match, and just seeing Choshu and DDT was really cool. Even though he had some not very nice things to say at the end of the match. In the semifinal with Damnation beating Moonlight Express to kick off their long tag title reign, I thought was an awesome match as well, a 4-star match. So this, looking through the results, remembering it, this might be my favorite Korakuen of the year. It's close, but I think this was a really good Korakuen.
Yeah, you made a good argument for it.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on Into the Fight before I move on?
Let me just see. Bo James was on the show. Let's skip.
Yeah, you can definitely skip that. I wish he wasn't in the fucking DO either. But yeah, so then moving on then to April 4th, DDT is coming to America in La Boom. Were you at this or no? I can't remember. You were,
yes,
I think.
Yeah, we were.
Actually, I talked to you outside the venue. What am I talking about?
Yeah, I was about to bring that up.
Yes. I'm sorry. I talked to so many people at that show.
Oh, yeah, fair enough.
It's like a very blur that whole day. But yeah, this was, this, I'm sure when I come down to giving it a ranking at the end, it might be live bump too.
Yeah.
But what an incredible experience this was. I mean, you can talk about it too, as far as like being a, someone who ran this blog forever and then seeing, I mean, did you ever think you would see, 700 people, whatever it was? And I actually don't remember what they claimed. But let me check that out. Just crammed into this building, 650 is what they said, which it was a sellout. So
sold out. It was kind of one of the better drawing indie shows, if you excuse all the game changer wrestling stuff. But yeah, like kind of still in shock how everything works. Like I think there was just one thing that went wrong in the show, which we'll get to eventually. But yeah, like something to see this move to another country, to another audience, and seeing everything click was pretty unbelievable.
I mean, the fans they knew everybody. I mean, there were people there who were clearly there because like their friends said to come or whatever. But like most of the crowd knew everyone, knew like everything that was going on, which that blew me away. I did not expect that going in. Because I will be honest, this is our DDT episodes are not our highest listened to episodes. So I'm always like, how big is the Western DDT fan base exactly? But like clearly there was enough to get to pack La Boom WrestleMania weekend and have everybody know everybody. So that was awesome. The crowd was like that was one of my favorite live crowds I've ever been in because they were just so up for everything. They were so into everyone. They were just so excited for everything that happens. And I thought it was a great show.
Yeah, and like a fantastic main event as well. That just like the thing with the show heading into it was I wasn't certain if there would be like that amazing match because when other when other Japanese companies go to America, they have that exhibition match that just blows everyone's socks off. Like the thing that comes to my head is obviously the Dragon Gate 6-man tag, and I couldn't really think what the DDT equivalent would be. And yet, Takashita and Daisuke Sasaki had like just an incredible like main event for the title. Like it just blew everything away.
Yeah, I mean, I went 4 1/4 on that. I also went 4 1/4 on Takagi and Mao on the Weapon Rumble, which that probably got the live bump. But that was just such an awesome and funny match, and the crowd loved it. So I thought that was really awesome. But yeah, I mean, the Takashita and Sasaki, I mean, that was like just an awesome main event. Right below their judgment match, I thought like very close. And, by the end of it, to first of all, to have a shocking title change, like I don't think anyone in the building thought Sasaki was going to win that match. And then like to then do the endo angle right afterwards, like talk about like sending the crowd home with an amazing, like, moment at the end, like 2 moments really.
Yeah, it was just absolutely mad. And well, not only that, but you had like a ton of the Iron Man title changes sprinkled throughout the show as well. So it was just like we hardly had time to catch up West for anything.
That crowd loves Saki Akai, by the way. Like I wasn't expecting that at all, but they really love Saki Akai.
Oh, I wonder why.
Yeah, well, she is. Yeah, very pretty, and a very good wrestler at this point. I mean, maybe not the best of all time or anything, but if you look at her now compared to where she was a few years ago, it's like she's improved a ton. So.
We might mention a bit of it later about her 7-match series. So I think she's really getting into her own now.
Yeah, I mean, like she used to be very like, I mean, she used to like wrestle like a deer on ice skates or something.
Yeah,
she used to be very
like
awkward.
a newborn deer. That's what it was.
Yeah, and like she was very. It seemed like she was almost scared to hit people, but now she just fucking kicks people, and it's awesome. So she finally figured out she can just like, it's Japanese wrestling. You can just kick the shit out of people, and it'll look good, and you're allowed to do that. So, trying to think what else on the show. I mean, people were Miyu Yamashita and Maki Ito. Again, they only went like 7 minutes, but the crowd was so into that match and so into both of them. So that was really cool to see. But yeah, the Iron Man Gauntlet. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, they knew Ito's chant as well. He was the cutest in the world, Ito-chan, and they all knew it.
The Iron Man Gauntlet had the funniest moment the entire night, where the what's it called, the medical staff for the New York Athletic Commission wouldn't let Kikutaro wrestle. They were like taking his blood pressure. Like people were just like people around him were just like crying with laughter at that spot. So that was awesome.
Oh, there was that, but there was also that fan who danced along with Hirata.
Yes, that was
the one in the front row when like Takagi was there filming it on his camera.
I was like 2 seats down from that guy. So that was like, yeah, it was like right in the front row next to him. He was so into it. So, he's a listener too. So shout out to him. But yeah, so the main event was awesome as we went over, and there was a lot of Iron Man title changes. But yeah, I know a ton of people who were there, including, Rich from the Flagship, who's not like, the Flagship, not always the biggest DDT fans, but Rich was like, yeah, that was an amazing show. And I don't know anyone who went to that show who said anything other than that was amazing. So
like, even Joe Lanza admits it was a good show.
Yeah. As far as I think DDT definitely one of the highlights of the entire weekend. And, I would put them, they were the best show I saw all weekend. I mean, I don't really think it's that close. The only show that was even close for me was the Stardom show, which, they also had a very good show with a busted bottom rope, which is, kind of amazing. And then the MSG was good, but like, you can't really, you can't be on the same level when half the show is fucking terrible because of Ring of Honor.
That's another conversation for another episode.
I'm sure we'll talk about it on the ROH episode. All right, so let's say after that we go back to Korakuen at the end of the month for.
Well, I think there's one thing recommendation on the same day back in Japan, the DDT wrestlers who did not go to America held their own show, and the main event was Daisuke Sekimoto and Yuki Ino, which is a good watch if you want to see like two heavyweights smacking each other around.
Yes, thank you for bringing that up. I totally forgot about DDT. I do not want to admit that I cannot go to America 2019 in Shinkiba. That whole show was pretty funny, actually. So definitely check that out if you didn't see it at the time. At the end of the month, we have DDT Max Bump on April 29th or April 28th at Korakuen Hall. The main event, again, a very, I think, underrated match. For the KOD openweight title, Tetsuya Endo and Makoto Oishi, 4.5-star match, an awesome match here between a guy that with a guy that I think most people think is a comedy wrestler, but Oishi just had an amazing match here, and Endo, this was the start of his, sadly short but awesome title reign. So definitely a main event you absolutely want to go out of your way to see if you didn't see it the first time.
Yeah, especially since Oishi has just been the comedy wrestler for the last 6 years, I think.
Yeah,
but then because beforehand he was a K-Dojo, I think, and he kind of was a serious wrestler. And just a lot of these names on the DDT roster, which they're secretly good. Like they don't get to show it off much, but they're secretly good when you give them the chance.
Yeah, like Honda, Oishi,
Awashi when you give him that one big match a year.
Awashi, yeah, he had one in the King of DDT. It was great, and Hirata too last year in King of DDT. like towards the end of it, like that thing with Endo and everything. He was really good. So, but yeah, so this was there's not a ton else that stands out to me reading this other than Honda winning the Extreme title from Hiroshima here. Anything else worth mentioning? Oh, that Aoki Takashita match, it only went 7 minutes, but that was really good. I remember liking that.
Yeah, that was all right. Kisuke Ikuda was there with DDT for a few months, and he left after this one.
Yeah.
Like, he had I don't know what was with him. Like, didn't really stand out much.
Yeah. He ended up doing like some pretty good stuff in Dragon Gate, apparently. I saw a little bit of it.
Yeah, and here's a sad story. Yoshiaki Yatsu, legendary wrestler. This was supposed to be the start of a trend where he would do monthly appearances for DDT, but unfortunately, a few months later, he lost a foot to diabetes, I believe. So
yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, this is the. There seems to be a curse with legendary wrestlers in DDT. Akabono's last match was with DDT before his health deteriorated. Takayama's last match was with DDT. That's where he got injured. We have Yatsu here losing a foot. Laparca won the Iron Man heavy middleweight title a few weeks ago, and well, his spine's now gone. The lesson we should take all of this, and I believe I speak for everyone when I say this, is DDT should book Jim Cornette next year.
Wow.
Anyway, let's move on.
The King of DDT started the following night at the Itabashi Green Hall. Not a ton in the first round that I thought was, that I didn't have anything 4 stars or above, but there's a solid show as far as like seeing a bunch of shorter singles matches other than the main event with Takashita and Ueno that went 20 minutes. But anything stood out to you in that King of DDT first round?
Not really. It paled in comparison to last year's version of the.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. May 6th had the second round. Again, I didn't have anything make my, my 4 stars or above spreadsheet. So not a ton to mention here other than, I remember the main event, Hiroshima and Sasaki being a little disappointed by, only won 13 minutes and, just wasn't as good as I was expecting. But then the final show would redeem itself a little bit, and we'll get to that now. The finals for the King of DDT on May 19th. This show did have 3 spreadsheet matches. In addition to the tournament final and semifinal. So I have Takashita and Higuchi, and one of the semifinal matches I went 4 stars flat on. The final with Takashita and Soma Takao I thought was awesome with 4 1/4. And, even better than both of those, Tetsuya Endo with another incredible KOG openweight title match against Keisuke Ishii, who, he has a history of coming up big in these title matches. He had a really awesome one with Takashita the year before. But yeah, him and Endo and Ishii had a 4.5 star match here. Awesome match. So this show, again, as far as like wrestling quality, one of the better Corkins of the year. But yeah, I mean, it's not every day you have a KOD openweight title match at the mid card either. So, very stacked card here. Anything to say?
Well, the storyline with that was they were building up the Endo Sakaguchi match, and it was when I think, Ishii decided to cash in his right to challenge Gauntlet to get the match, and it was after that where Endo had to wrestle a tag match with Sakaguchi in it and got beaten in a minute.
Yeah,
you remember that angle?
Yes, I remember.
Yep.
So there you go.
And just in case, I won't get to speak much about him here, but with Ishii, he's doing really well in Ganbei right now. I saw some of his matches as the independent junior heavyweight champion, and it's kind of in the same level of skill you see from him as you do from this match. So if you get a chance to see Ganbei and just want to see their serious stuff, the Keisuke Ishii is where to go.
After that, you have the DDT Wrestle Matsuya Mania on June 2nd in Matsuya Ihime. That's where the Endo Sakaguchi match was. I remember being a little disappointed by that match. I thought it would be a little better than it was, I guess. I still think I went like 3.5 on it, but, given who was in it, I thought it would be a little better.
Yeah, I was really into that storyline as well, because it was Sakaguchi kind of hunting down the Damnation wrestlers one by one until he got to Endo.
Yeah.
Yeah, the match never really hit that level.
Yeah. Not a ton else that stands out to me here on the rest of the card. Anything to say about...
This was kind of like the peak of Maku Donaruto in DDT.
Yep. The Hirata and Naruto tag title match.
Yeah, but I think that gimmick is funny. I know it's the same gay panic jokes you get with Dino, but just the absurdity of a guy doing it in a Ronald McDonald costume is funny. And I know that the home promotion he was with, Udon Pro Wrestling, apparently he's leaving it at the end of the year. So I'm wondering if he's going to be more of a DDT regular in 2020.
Yeah, it's very possible. June 24th has a show from Shinkiba, the DDT Sendai Girls All Out Cross Sendai Girls Pro Wrestling show, which this, again, only a 5-match show, but one you're definitely going to want to check out because it has just like, there's really cool like intergender matches, a hardcore match with Dash Chizako beating Shuma Katsumata. You have Chihiro Hashimoto defeating Yuki Ino. You have the 20-minute time limit draw Takashita and Mako, and then you have the main event for the 6-man tag titles, or All Out regains them from Sendai Girls. So this was kind of like the culmination of that earlier title change, and not the last time we see Sendai Girls, but definitely like one of the bigger moments of the year for them. What do you think of this one?
Yeah, this is one of my favorite shows of the year, and especially since top to bottom, it's just like the one story you need to know is these two groups are feuding with each other, so you can go in with no other previous experience and just enjoy it from the start to the beginning. And it's a very easy watch as well because I think the show is only like 2 hours, 20 minutes. I think is the video file on Universe.
Yeah, something like that. It's pretty short.
But yeah, if you are cold on the DDT storylines, like this is one you can easily just watch without knowing anything prior.
June 30th had the Road to Wrestle Peter Pan Cork and Hall show. Again, I did not have any spreadsheet matches here, but the main event was Takashita beating Chris Brooks and Shinshiro Takagi in a 3-way match. We also had a tag team title match with Damnation against Yoshimura and Ueno. I remember being a little disappointed, but still a good match. But yeah, and then this was this your made a goodbye match with Sakaguchi? It doesn't say anything special here.
I don't think so. No, hold on a second.
It was like his Roaders goodbye or something, I guess.
Might have been. I can't remember.
And this had the one thing on the show I remember really standing out was the mixed martial arts countermeasure gauntlet with Danshoku Dino. That was pretty fucking funny. We went through all these different, martial arts, quote unquote, with like they got increasingly absurd with the different people up against him.
Yeah, I have the list here. So these all count as mixed martial arts: sambo, boxercise, wrestling, kendo, sumo, swimming, judo, and kabaddi, which is an Indian sport that's kind of like British Bulldogs, I think.
Swimming was Hirata, right? I think.
Yeah.
So that's pretty funny. But yeah, so that was a funny match, but not a ton else on this Corkin that I thought was that interesting. I don't know if there's anything that stands out to you.
Well, I like the main events just for the kind of crazy hardcore stuff. A lot of plastic boxes that kind of looked dangerous because the finish was I'm trying to remember what the finish was again. I think it was Brooks did a diving body press onto a pile of boxes and almost cut his forehead open with them or something. And then Takashita came in, did another German suplex, saw into the cases and got the win, I think.
Well, so that's that show. But then, sorry, go.
Go ahead.
July 15th, DDT Wrestle Peter Pan, the free show at Old Award Gymnasium. I think you could go either way with this or Ultimate Party for show of the year, but this is my show of the year. I thought this top to bottom was just an incredible show. Almost everything on the show is great, but you have I'm going to go through some of my favorite highlights. The Yoshiko and Saki Akai only went 8.5 minutes, but I thought that match was great. Just under 4 stars. The DDT Extreme title, the Ippon Light Tube death match, where the goal ended up being and they didn't explain what this was going to be until we got to the show, if I remember correctly. I just remember the whole thing was like Asuka wanted to go extreme, and Akita was like, I can only handle one light tube. That's the only extreme I can handle. So they ended up with
the way Akito explained it was the tension towards one light tube breaking can be just as exciting as breaking 200 light tubes.
So they do this amazing match where the entire goal, I wouldn't even really call it comedy. It's just more like
acrobatics.
I don't know, just like just dramatics and acrobatics and like just impressive, being able to do this. Like they go almost 12 minutes where the goal is to not break the light tube. And it's just, I didn't really know how to rate it. I went 4.25 in the end, but like it's something where like I would say definitely watch this match. I mean, it was
it's one of the more inventive matches you're going to see this year.
But yeah, so definitely watch that. As far as what else is on the show, then you have the Hideki Suzuki and Yuki Onaya, only 8 minutes long, but like, that was just a really fun, like, one-sided Hideki kind of match. Another really fun match with Brooks and Takanashi beating Moonlight Express. If I was going to have a disappointment, maybe the Weapon Rumble with Takagi and Sasadango. There were a couple funny jokes, but it wasn't like, I didn't think it was as funny as the Takagi and, the Dino one from a couple years ago. But still, there's still some...
The only thing of note is, like, I watch Deathmatch Wrestling. I can see Masashi Takeda getting impaled with forks, but Sanshiro Takagi taking a blood test, that does not sit well with me.
I know, I cringe pretty hard too.
That thing is just needle spots. I just cannot stand needle spots.
But it was really funny, but also, it's like, hard to get through. Shinya Aoki and Dino, there was some good comedy there, but not the greatest match ever. But then the double main event, Sasaki and Takao defeating Hirashima and Yasuo Arano. I went 4 stars flat on that, an awesome semi-main. And the main event, what I think is DDT's match of the year, Takashita beating Tetsuya Endo in 31-38 with the walls of Takashita to win back the title. I didn't love the title change, so I thought Endo's title reign was, just an awesome title reign and could have gone even further. But like, this an amazing match here. Like I went 4 3/4. It's in my overall top 10 match of the year list. It's just an awesome match. And the cage match rating at 9.58, which is, like one of the highest ratings of the year for any match. I went the Observer went 4.5, and I know Dave doesn't tend to go that high in a lot of DDT matches. So I would definitely say check this out if you if you haven't seen it. A lot of people went 5 stars on it, and if you didn't go, if you didn't go 5, I didn't quite go 5, but I went very close. And if you went 5, I can totally understand it because this is an amazing match.
Yeah, excellent match. Like, I think only if you are sick of 30-minute main event matches this year, like that might be the only reason you won't watch it. But if you don't mind that, like, this is spectacular. Like,
is this? I was gonna say this has to be the best Takashita Endo match, right? Because I can't think of the one I was in you were there too. I think 2 years ago. Oh no, you weren't there. You went in 2016. In 2017, Peter Pan. That was a 4. Like I think I went like 4.25 at Peter Pan 2017. But this one to me like blew it away.
Yeah, no, I think this was like a lot of back work in this one as well, which leads to the finish, and it's something very different from what they did previously.
Yeah.
So that kind of plays into it as well, because it's just it's not just the same match they had 2 years ago.
But a really spectacular, a really spectacular match too. I mean, it has the psychology, like you're saying with the back, but they just do some incredible spots too. So it felt like a very modern match, I guess is the best way to put it. Like it very like, it still has a psychology underpinning it with the back work, but it's also just like very much like a big moves, modern Japanese wrestling main event. So definitely one, you should go out of your way to say. Any other thoughts on Wrestle Peter Pan?
Let me just see. No, I think we mentioned everything here. I don't remember the Battle Royal for the Iron Man title.
It was mostly just that comedian guy hitting on what's her name? The hitting on Saki Akai, I think, was the main thing.
Yeah, so. And this might have been Umeida's last.
Oh, not Saki Akai. I'm sorry, Kamifuku, Yuki Kamifuku.
Oh,
he kept hitting on Yuki.
But I think this show was Kota Umeida's last match, because I remember he did the undercard match with the Keigo Nakamura, the new rookie they have. So they did that, and he was in like a special DNA match in the opener as well.
So his last show I think was July 21st.
Oh, 21st.
Yeah,
okay.
I see him in the opener. So I think that was it for him. But let's see. But
no, the DNA tag, it was Higuchi and Nakatsu. Kazusada Higuchi and Ryota Nakatsu against Naomi. No, sorry. What am I doing here? Higuchi and Nakatsu against Umeda and Koki Iwasaki. So,
Yeah.
that was actually pretty good.
So July 21st does have its last match, which was Umeda, Bailey, Shimatani, and Katsumata against Shimamura, Watase, Yoshimura, and Ueno, which also was kind of like a DNA match, but not, I guess not counting Bailey. But that was on July 21st, the DDT Summer Vacation Korakuen, which is the next show we're going to talk about here. This had the King Potato Chip Dragon Potato Mask match, which is like, I can say quite definitively the best 8-man tag involving 2 potato chip mascots I've ever seen. This was way better than it had any right to be, with Awashi as King Potato Chips, Asuka, Godahashi, and Masataka Nashi beating Honda as Dragon Potato Mask, Akito, Kazuki Hirata, and Saki Akai. Only went 7 minutes, but I remember that being really fun. Another really fun 6-man with Hideki Suzuki, Ken Oka, and Sasadango beating Hirashima, Shinichiro Takagi, and Shinya Aoki. The semi-main had Sasaki and Takao retaining the tag titles against Hiroshi Yamato and Joey Ryan. That I didn't like that much. It went a little long at 17.5 minutes. But the main event, if you're, again, like Jamie was saying, if you're not tired of open 30-minute main events, Takashita beating Chris Brooks to retain the KOD openweight title. That was an awesome match. I went 4 1/4 on it. Or no, I think I went 4 flat on it. But yeah, still definitely worth checking out. A little long and, does drag at times, but still an awesome main event.
Yeah, but Brooks has been a revelation for DDT this year. Like, I'm normally into him as a tag wrestler more than singles, but he really brought it. And he's kind of, the time he was in DDT, you can really sense there was kind of a new sense of life in the company, because he was like capturing the spirit of the company very quickly.
He fits in really, really well. And, you remember how they first debuted him, right? So an example of like this, when DDT does this, it always makes me laugh really hard. So New Japan did that video to tease what ended up being Jon Moxley. But because they did like a fake out with a British flag, a lot of people thought it was going to be Chris Brooks. And then DDT, like before New Japan reveals who it is, DDT does like a parody version and says Chris Brooks is coming, which is fucking hilarious. First of all, it removed Chris Brooks from consideration for the New Japan thing. But second of all, it was just really funny that they did that, because a lot of people thought it was Chris Brooks. And like, well, we're bringing in Chris Brooks. Let's just shoot an almost shot-for-shot remake of that Time's Up video.
Someone made a comparison video like side by side, and like it's not online anymore. I wish I downloaded it while I had the chance, but it was as accurate as they could do it.
It was so fucking. And who's like? Is Higuchi in it or something? Somebody's in it, like as a.
It was. I think it was Imanawi. Do you know Imanawi from the Ganbei?
It was so. Yeah, it's so fucking funny. So that was great. So yeah, whenever DDT parodies New Japan, it's always really funny to me. And they've done a couple really good ones. I'm going to talk about one of them later, but like another big one from this year that's, I guess, more like a Bushiroad parody, you could say. But yeah, I mean, there's a couple ones that are really funny. And last year when they did that parody of the Golden Lovers reunion, that was really funny too. So whenever they do the New Japan parodies, they're usually pretty funny.
If you like that, they're going to be doing Stardom a bunch now, so keep your eyes out for that.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was referencing actually. But yeah,
are we talking about the Miyako one, or is it not?
Yeah. So, but yeah, so the July 21st show, some good stuff there, definitely worth checking out. Let's see what's next here. The Beer Garden shows are next. So Beer Gardens, my big problem here is this happens right in the middle of the fucking G1. So trying to keep up with, let me count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It looks like 6, 7. Yeah, usually 7 straight shows. Huh?
Yeah, a week-long shows, so it's like 7.
Yeah. It's really difficult. It's really difficult to keep up with them all, when you're also trying to keep up with the G1. So I only end up seeing like a little bit here and there. But it's just it's a lot of stuff. But I have to say, if you're ever in Japan during Beer Garden, which I was lucky enough to be 2 years ago, make sure you go to them because they're so fucking fun, live in person. Like those 2 Beer Garden shows I went to, which was like a a DNA one where like they did like a 1-day tournament that Yoshimura won, and then the DDT one that night, which was like, I think the final one. They had like the ghost story match and some other stuff like that, and the fans choose the main event teams. Yeah, I mean that was such a fucking fun show, and like, or both of them were such fun shows. And I mean the atmosphere is just so cool. It's like one of those things where like, I don't know, like it's like nothing else I've ever been to. It's just people standing around drinking beer, drinking those chu-hais and eating random food they brought in and stuff. It's just such a cool vibe. But yeah, so definitely check out Beer Garden if you're ever in Japan.
It's also a show where the wrestlers themselves kind of get to unwind and just like blow off steam with whatever ideas they come up with.
Yeah. Does anything stand out to you from this year's Beer Garden?
It would be the Lariat match. Like every year they do Lariat Pro Wrestling, which is just a bunch of wrestlers doing lariats while music of famous wrestling lariats play. So you hear Sunrise, you hear Jay, you hear... they changed it up because I think they did Shinsuke Nakamura and they just started doing Bombay-Yays.
That's pretty cool. So, but yeah, so check out those Beer Garden shows. I need to go back and watch some of them probably, but there's always some good stuff. After that, we have the next Korakuen. If I can get to it. Wow, they did a lot of stuff between that. Okay, August 25th, Summer Vacation Memories 2019 at Korakuen Hall. This show, I would say, was probably a little bit on the weaker side for Korakuens. There was not a ton here that stands out to me, except for, Santina Morella making his appearance. That was pretty funny. I like that they just used his WWE theme song. And then the main event, a lot of people liked a lot more than me, so maybe this is worth checking out. The Extreme Title Ladder match with Jiro, Ikemen Kurishio, rotated against Daisuke Sasaki. I only went like 3.5 on it, but I know a lot of people went 4+, so you might want to check that out. And this did have the Saki and Su Young tag match, which was, where they took on Asuka Makoto, and you had Saki debuting her zombie character, which was, quite frightening. She did a very good job walking around like a zombie, not in control of her body. So that was something.
Yeah, I'll just say, this was the same day as the Tokyo Joshi Pro and Korakuen, and that was the Su Young Yuka Sakazaki match.
So that's an awesome match.
Yeah, like just to bring in the Tokyo Joshi talk, like watch that one.
Yeah, and there's also the team up of the two potato chips against Yamato and Hirata. That was also very funny. So there's some really good comedy on the show actually, but like as far as like big time matches, I think you have to go out of your way to say. I don't really think there was a ton here, but definitely not the worst Korakuen or anything though.
Like a good show to jump on if you ever just need to see a DDT show without too much consequence.
Yeah. September 1st, Osaka Octopus at EDO number 2. This show, I would call this my most disappointing DDT show of the year. I thought that there was just like, there was a chance. Like this card on paper, I thought was going to be, I guess, a lot better than it was. There was still some good stuff, but like the 040 title Recycle Weapon Rumble with Takagi and Ken Oka, I guess I thought that was going to be funnier than it was. It was cool to see some old references, but like I would definitely put that towards the bottom of Weapon Rumbles. The tag title match I didn't think was that good. Sasaki and Takao against Jiro and Higuchi. The main event, Takashi and Aoki, I only went 3 3/4, so still a great match, but not like quite 4-star level. My favorite thing on the show was probably the Iron Man title rumble with Asuka, Puma King, Hirata, Mad Paulie, Masu Takanashi, Saki Kai, and Yuni. That was probably the best thing on the entire show. So, there's a lot of...
For two guys I don't see much of, Jun Masaoka and Kuhei Kinoshita, like they had a match with Yaoshima and Mao. That was pretty good.
Yeah, they're like local Osaka Pro guys, I guess.
Yeah, and I think Masaoka does some Basawa work every now and then.
So there you go. That's another recommendation. But yeah, I just thought this was like, I don't know, like it felt like it was missing something, and especially being in the same day as this one also was a back-to-back with Tokyo Joshi, and I did think Tokyo Joshi's Osaka show blew them out of the water. Like I thought that was an awesome show, the Tokyo Joshi Osaka show from earlier in the day. Whereas this was like it was fine, but a little disappointing, I thought.
Well, I mean, the Osaka Octopus shows, like they never really do that well. Like every couple of years, DDT tries to do a push to get into the Osaka market, and it doesn't really stick.
Yeah. I remember that last year, was it last year or 2 years ago? There was like a main event with like Black Buffalo and Maito Kishiwada against, or Big Boss Man, whatever you want to call him.
No, that was for the shows Yukinori Matsui puts together. The referee.
Right.
So it was like his anniversary show, I think.
So that was not that they took on, I think, Takeshita and Harashima. I think that was an awesome match. So, but that's like the best thing I can remember from Osaka in the last like couple of years. But it was a rough year for a lot of promotions trying to draw in Osaka. I mean, All Japan tried to do Kento and Miyahara, or Kento and Zeus, and at Osaka #2 and kind of bombed.
Oh, geez, was that the one the same day as Sasaki and Dino in Sumo Hall? Is that the one I'm thinking?
Yeah, I think that's
because I remember there was kind of controversy over that, because that was the match where Dino wrestled completely naked, and that was the front cover news story on Weekly Pro Wrestling that week, and there was complaints about why is this the main story and not Kento Miyahara winning back the Triple Crown?
Oh, so that was last year. Yeah, that was Sumo. That was the Yokohama show, I believe.
Oh, okay.
This is this year. I'm talking about from Osaka, where they went back with Kento and Zeus and Idio #2 this year, which have been also a match they did in Idio #1 last year, and it didn't even sell out Idio #2. So, I think All Japan had some difficulties there. There's another promotion I was thinking of that didn't do that well in Osaka, but I can't remember, maybe Noah or something. But yeah, it's a hard market for anyone to draw out of the New Japan and kind of Dragon Gate, I guess. I think Dragon Gate still does okay, but that's like their home region. So September 29th, DDT, who's going to top 2019 at Korakuen? First of all, we should mention, this is usually like when they do the general election, they dropped it this year. Do you know the reason for that? Was it just because AKB dropped their general election?
Yeah, I think so. That and also we've kind of had the same winners over and over going through it, and it's been a bit repetitive.
Yeah,
I think the other thing is you get that one wrestler who charts highly, but it's like everyone votes for Dino, everyone votes for Harashima, no one votes for Takeshita.
That might be the big reason why they. That might be the big reason why they stopped doing it.
Push do not get votes.
Yeah. So I remember, who was it? Like, it was Masu Takanashi that got like the big out of nowhere voting push last year, right?
Yeah, well, it started off with Maki Ito because all of the foreigners voted for her, but then I think Takanashi stole it.
Yeah, so that was interesting. But yeah, so we didn't get a general election this year, which I did kind of miss it, but I totally understand they're, first of all, if the thing you're parroting is dropping it, you probably are going to end up dropping it too, just because it's like, well, and if you don't know the whole story behind that, AKB not doing the election, it's a long and mostly depressing story. So if you're not into idol culture, yeah, I wouldn't recommend looking that up, honestly. But yeah, so I don't think they're going to bring it back, though. I think we're done with the general election.
I just had that moment of dread where because of DDT, I know what the AKB48 story is. That's just weird.
Who's going to top 2019? This had some good stuff. September 29th, two matches I really liked. The KOD tag team titles, Daisuke Sasaki and Soma Takao against Akito and Yuki Ino. That was an awesome match. I went 4 1/4. That was the semifinal. And the main event, the DDT Extreme title 3-way elimination, which also was for a spot in the Ultimate Party main event, because they decided they were going to do champion versus champion, again beating New Japan to the punch by 2 months, which I thought was funny. But Harashima beats Jiro and Endo in 2001 to become the new champion. I went 4 stars flat on that. Another awesome match. So some really cool stuff here. Yep, very fun match. Gorgeous Matsuno beating Takagi for the over 40 title was way more fun than you were probably expected to be if you just see those two names. I mean, they're like Matsuno basically I don't know, fighting through all these moves from Takagi was, it got way more serious than you would expect. So that was something. And then Takashi, a bit of a cool resurgence because he's doing bodybuilding competitions in his time off and doing quite well in them. He's in his either late 50s or early 60s, but the guy is in much better shape than you give him credit for. Yeah. And I've been looking up, actually. I think he's 58. Let me see if that's correct. So I'm just curious.
But like he does like the senior surrogate for best body in Japan.
Yeah. So I got that exactly right. Wow. 58. He's born April 18th, 1961. There you go. But yeah, and then this also has Takashita and Asuka, which was really good. About 11 and a half minutes, and honestly left me wanting more. You have.
Well, what do you think about because Takashita got a back injury a few days before that match took place? He was doing weightlifting, and I think there's video of it on his Twitter account where he attempted a deadlift of something and his back just went out.
Mm-hmm.
So he went into this match kind of selling his back and being very grounded while Asuka's trying to just fuck with him.
Yeah. I thought it was great. I thought it was a really good match, but they told the story they were trying to tell,
And there's more in the tank if they ever want to go back to it.
Yeah. But yeah, this is again one of my favorite Corkins of the year. Very strong show. Let's see. After that, we get to October 27th, the pre-Ultimate Party, ready to go Ryogoku Big E Festival. This one, it did have a main event that I really liked, the 2 out of 3 falls 6-person tag with Takashita, Ken Oka, and Shoko Nakajima beating Harashima, Izami Kodaka, and Yuka Sakazaki in about 20 minutes. I went 4 stars flat on that, so that's a really good main event worth checking out. The rest of the card kind of just there. I don't know. I mean, Endo and Jiro, it didn't quite get to like 4-star level for me, but like the storyline with like Jiro, the crowd turning on Jiro, that was really funny.
Like even just watching it for the entrances, and you'll get your money's worth out of it.
And they just started chanting bad at him, which I thought was really funny. They're like, Wari. That was really funny. But yeah, and then there's some other good stuff. The semi-main was pretty good with Brooks and Takanashi beating, I can never pronounce this. Natalius? I don't know. Yoshimura and Ueno, that team.
Yeah. That is Ueno and Yoshimura's tag team, and they've gotten better as the year got on, so I'm going to have high hopes that they'll have a good 2020.
Yeah. But yeah, not a ton else interesting on this show, but some good stuff. So, it was a setup show.
Just before we go on to the next show, just to go back a bit, 19th of October probably has my favorite show name of the year, Ryogoku Colonel Sanders 2019, because it's in the Ryogoku KFC hall.
It's so fucking funny. I know when I saw that, I was like, only DDT would do that, but there you go. Ryogoku Colonel Sanders. I love DDT. After that, we get to November 3rd, Ultimate Party, DDT Group Big Set. Oh, did I skip the thing you want to talk about, by the way, the pool match?
Oh, we absolutely did. Let me see what date was that. That was back in June.
Wow.
That was back in the summertime. But yeah, like for many people, if your experience of DDT was hearing about the outdoor wrestling shows that happen on campsites and theme parks and whatever, this one here, where they just found a swimming pool and just went buck wild in it, is probably like completely matches that kind of chaos and captures that sense of fun that I haven't seen since those earlier matches. And Brooks was just an MVP of this match. Like, you could tell he wanted to do absolutely everything he could.
Yeah. So that's that one. Definitely check that out if you missed it.
Yeah,
November 3rd.
So just one more thing. Like, that's the spot where him and was it Kats? Yeah, it was Shunba Katsumata doing the figure 4 leg lock on a water slide, and it reverses as they were sliding down.
Yes, that was awesome.
Like,
November 3rd, the DDT Ultimate Party 2019 DDT Group Big Set from Ryogoku. This is another one where I'm not going to beat you up if you have this as your show of the year. I mean, it's real close with this and Peter Pan. We don't have to go into a ton of detail because I did just cover this a few weeks ago on the show. But like, yeah, but it's a really good show. I mean, like, just as far as like everything on the show being at least good to 4 matches, I had 4 stars or better. The Omega and Riho against Honda and Yamashita match, 4.5 stars. That was fucking awesome. Again, one of those matches where Honda got to show like really what he was made of, and that he could hang, with a Kenny Omega in the ring, just have like a really good tag match. I mean, there's some comedy, but there's, it's not a ton of comedy. It's a lot of like more like just impressive intergender spots and stuff.
They got the humorous stuff out of the way early.
Yeah.
Yeah, and thing is, with Mio Yamashita, that was one of my favorite performances from her this year.
Yeah, she was awesome. Shoko Nakajima and Yuka Sakazaki for the Princess title. 4 1/4. Awesome match here, and they really won over a crowd that was not that into the match when it first started. So you got to give them a lot of credit there.
Oh yeah, very emotional as well, because I think those two were pretty much in tears by the time the match ended.
Yeah, and they were clearly moved by the reaction. The main event, Takeshita and Harashima, the double title match, won 4 1/4. To me, not nearly at the level of their match from Saitama a few years ago, which I went, believe, 4 3/4 on, but still an awesome match.
Yeah, and I think this was where they pretty much stole New Japan's thunder on not just the double title thing, but they were pretty much ripping off Tanahashi's storyline from Tokyo Dome as well.
Yeah. I mean, Kudo was great. Kudo was like the Shibata of that storyline, basically. Where, he stepped away from the ring. We don't know if and when he'll return, but he was like, I'm not ready for our generation to be done. And, he just was great cheering on Harashima in this match. So he really added a lot to it. Yeah, the other match I won't...
the only downside is that we're kind of in this holding pattern with DDT main events where it's just going to be either Takeshita or Harashima as the guy to hold the title. And Harashima, he's still good, but he's a 10-time champion now. He's still the same wrestler he always is. I don't know how much longer he should be the main event guy.
Yeah, I think this probably might be his last run, but I don't mind doing one last big run now. So.
Oh yeah, but my worry is more DDT doesn't have anyone to replace him with.
Yeah. The other match I went 4 stars on, which was maybe a little. I just thought this was really great. The Union Pro Max title, Masa Takanashi beating Ryuichi Sekine and 9:59. So a quick match, but a really really fun one while it lasted. So one definitely worth checking out. I'm very excited to see Masa defend against Izami Kodaka on the Sumo Hall show. Or not Sumo Hall, the Korakuen Hall Basara show.
If only you Sumo Hall.
Yeah.
But just for this show, the final 4 matches, which is everything we mentioned so far, and the Princess Tag title match as well.
Yeah.
The
other thing I wanted to call out too, the Independent World Junior title, even though it only went 7.5 minutes, but Ishii and Abe, that was a really fun one. And the pre-show, the Iron Man Battle Royal. I mean, look, these things are always going to be a certain level of good, they're always going to be fun. But this is one of my favorite Iron Man Battle Royals in a long time. Between the chair beating Shota and the chair beating the other chair before they came out, which reminded me of the Yakitori wedding from a few years ago. And then here starting out with the chair, and then Yoshihiko, and then Pokotan. And he was so distraught by all these non-human opponents. He tried to eliminate himself. And then when I think Shota comes out finally, he's just he yells out, "A human!" Finally, he's so happy to have another human. So that was really funny. And then the end with gorgeous Matsuno singing, all the way through, everybody trying to attack him and eliminating most of the rest. Huh?
Him no selling everything.
Yeah, it's no selling everything, and then he choke slams Hirata or somebody right in the middle of the song. I think is it Antonio Honda on commentary who just yells choke slam, he's so.
I think so. Well, the other thing was Hirata likes to do that karate chop to the neck that knocks people out. Matsuno was no selling it, but I think it actually helped his singing as he did it because it gave him the quiver of the voice to hit that high note.
Yes, so that was amazing. I mean, this is one of the funniest fucking matches of the year. I mean, I was crying with laughter during the Matsuno shit. So, and then he loses anyway, of course, after he does. That's the ultimate punchline where he finishes the song, he thanks the crowd, he goes to do the gorgeous superstar elbow, and misses it. And he just pins him. I mean, I'm cracking up just thinking about it. It was so fucking funny. Anything to add about that match or anything else on Ultimate Party?
Just that they brought back the 10-man tag titles. I still don't know why.
It was funny just bringing them back again, I think, but I don't know if they're gonna defend them again. But yeah, this is another really awesome show, an example of that, DDT big show that I think everybody really loves. They just throw everything up the wall, and you can just get so much different stuff on the show.
So. And I don't think it was as long as I thought it would be.
Yeah,
I think it's only
agree.
Like a 4-hour show rather than 5 hours.
Yeah. And then just this, actually today, as we record this, November 24th, the God Bless DDT Korakuen show. This had some good stuff, especially the tag match with Takashita and Jiro against Honda and Yamashita. I thought that was awesome. I went 4 stars on. So that was a really good. What was it? Third from the top. It went 14:07 when Ikemen ended up pinning Honda with a moonsault press. So that was my big highlight. Also, Tsukasa Fujimoto beating Saki Akai in the 7-match series, which I thought was really good. A 3 3/4 star match with the Japanese Ocean Cyclone Suplex. Really got to show Saki all fired up, and they had a really fun match there. The Iron Man Battle Royal was again really, really funny because so you had the sponsor Nakano from Soken Holdings, who just kept paying everybody off to turn on Hirata. It started before the match where he, Makoto Oishi is giving the speech about how he hates these people outsiders coming into wrestling, and then Nakano pulls out a 10,000 yen bill, which is $100, and hands it to him, and he's like, "I'm going to help you win that Iron Man title." He changes immediately, and then these wrestlers keep running out, and they keep. He keeps paying them off, and then Asuka takes the 10,000 yen bill and won't take it, won't turn on Hirata, but then he just pulls out a second one, and she's like, "Now I'm good," and then immediately starts beating up Hirata, and then Hirata starts talking about how all these low card wrestlers who just are only in it for the money. You're going to see a real what real love of wrestling is like when Owashi comes out, and Owashi comes out. He doesn't take the money at first. But then they announce over the loudspeaker that, Owashi, we need you at merch because all the Soken Holdings people sold out all your merch. We need more merch. And he immediately turns on Hirata. And I was just fucking dying at that point. That was just an amazing match, as you'd expect.
And there's the payoff at the end where the employee, Nakano, he tries to do Rainmaker.
Yes. Yeah. And Hirata no-sells it, of course. But... yeah, the Rainmaker joke is funny. But then he wins the title anyway because so Oishi hits Hirata with a belt attack, and so Nakano pins Hirata, becomes the champion, which is his goal, the 1,443rd champion, and then Oishi immediately turns on him and schoolboys him to win the title, and he takes his fucking wallet too. Oishi is amazing. I love him. But yeah, anything else stand out from this Korakuen that we just watched? I guess.
I kind of had the TV on in the background watching it as I was trying to write up the reports. But from what I've seen of Harashima and Yuki Ino, that was the main event. It was pretty good. Ino still kind of green, still needs a lot of work, but I can see him kind of if I don't know. Well, actually, the big upset of the show where Sasuke Aoki. That's pretty important, I think.
Yeah, I think you were breaking up there. I'm not sure if it was on my end or on the record, but you were talking about Sasadango pinning Shinya Aoki, right?
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, I mean that's going to set up a Korakuen singles match next month. It looks like, but yeah, whoever thought you'd see Sasadango pin Aoki with basically the vertical drop Lehman shock in 10:45? He pins him clean, basically. That was something.
To be fair, Sasadango has always said, hit that move 3 times, you have a 100% match, a 100% chance of winning, and that's what happens. It works.
And
I think the only other recommendation is the tag title match between Damnation and the Calamari Drunken Kings, which is Brooks and Takanashi. That was pretty decent as well.
Yeah, it started out with I think I tweeted I was ready to be oh, it's just an angle, it's not much of a match, but then they had a really fun closing stretch that kind of pulled it out and made it worth watching. So, and they also swerved you a little bit where you think it's going to end up with a you
think the champions have split up.
Yeah, and they swerve you and have Soma come back and help Sasaki retain. This also drew better than a lot of Korakuens recently. This drew 1,214 fans, which is a lot. But before they were like there were some Korakuens this year that didn't hit 1,000. So I wonder if people are really into the Yuki Ino title challenge or.
Well, I mean that's the bright side of having Hiroshima as champion all the time. Like he does have his fans.
Yeah,
like he's an old reliable for a reason.
But yeah, so definitely I would say a good show, not like a top tier Korakuen like some of the other ones we mentioned that I thought were the best ones of the year, but definitely like a solid Korakuen.
Yeah, and it's kind of going to be maybe like the last regular DDT show for the rest of the year because we're going into the tournaments.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it then.
Yeah,
I mean, that's why.
That's going to be kind of the entire focus of DDT for the rest of the rest of November and December.
Right, and that's why I put DDT first this year in review series because it's like this is pretty much the end of their quote unquote regular year, and then the rest of the year, like you're saying, is the DO, which we'll talk about in a sec, and the New Year's Eve tag shuffle tournament and stuff. So I guess before we move on to looking ahead. What would you say? What are your big takeaways from DDT's 2019?
I wonder if this was a transition year. It's just I can't figure out what it's transitioning into. Takeshida's kind of run as a champion has ended for now, and while I think this was his best in-ring year, he's kind of done it all, and I don't know what he should be doing in his future other than maybe the teasers of AEW. Hiroshima, like it's nice that Hiroshima's champion again, but it's like something I've seen so much over the time I've been a DDT fan that I'm a little tired of it. I kind of hope they can figure out to do something fresh with him. I think the tag team scene has been good with Damnation holding the belts for most of the year, and I like the team of Ueno and Yoshimura. Hopefully they spring into something fantastic over the next 12 months. Everything else is kind of same old, same. Well, yeah, same old, I'd say. Like you kind of know what you're getting with DDT.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's not my favorite DDT year, but definitely since I started, I've only been watching them for about 3 years, and I would say I like this better than 2018, just because the what's it called, reign, the Irie reign was such a disaster that kind of almost tanked a lot of the year for me.
Yeah, he's OWE's problem now.
Yeah. And, 2017, I definitely thought was better than this year. But still, I mean, this is, DDT is in a lot of ways like pizza, like it's always going to be good, even when it's not like clicking on all cylinders all the time. And I think to me, the highlight of the year was Tetsuya Endo's title reign. I thought he was an awesome champion, doing that that weird little New York thing where he's like, I'm a New Yorker now was funny and interesting. And
he still mentions it with the Kuroshio stuff because Jiro's going to happen soon.
Yeah. So I think he had an awesome title reign. Like as far as match quality, if I could change anything, I definitely would have kept him as champion until Ultimate Party at least. But they didn't. Hopefully they go back to him this coming year because I thought he was an awesome champion.
I don't know because he dropped down the card order pretty quickly after that title loss. I know he had the stuff with Hiroshima and Tetsuya Endo, but right now he has nothing going on.
Yeah, so maybe it's just setting up a big shock Dio win or something. Who knows? But I guess we'll wait and see. But yeah, that's my big takeaway from the year. I love the Endo reign. I liked the Takeshita Sasaki title match, and I wasn't quite as into the Takeshita winning the belt back, but. Now we'll see what happens with this Hiroshima reign. And I haven't seen it nearly as much as you, so maybe that's why it doesn't feel, quite as like same old to me. But I guess we'll see.
Yep, fair enough.
But yeah, so I enjoyed the year overall. Definitely, there was nothing that felt like it totally crashed and burned like that Irie title reign did last year. So let's see what else is coming. Let's do upcoming stuff before we do awards. That makes sense to me. So the big thing coming up, obviously, is the DO Grand Prix, which starts on November 29th in Yokohama Radiant Hall. So the two blocks here, the A block has Konosuke Takeshita, his third appearance, and he won what, last year or the year before? Can't remember.
The last one.
He won last year.
Ishikawa won the first one.
Right. Tetsuya Endo is making his third appearance. Keisuke Ishii making his second appearance. Yuki Ueno, Yuki Ino, Chris Brooks, and Chihiro Hashimoto are all making their first appearance in the tournament. So that's the A block. Some really exciting stuff there. I really can't wait to see Chihiro from Sendai Girls mix it up with some people in the A block. So we'll definitely some cool matches here. And Ishii against Endo and Takashita, he's had really good matches with both of them. So that could be some really good stuff there.
Yep.
Who anyone stand out to you as the obvious winner? I think you could really go with a lot of different directions in this block. If Endo's going to win the tournament, obviously he would win. You could have Takashita make the finals if he's not going to win. You could have Ishii make the finals as a big upset, or maybe even like Chris Brooks or even Chihiro.
Yeah, pretty much. You kind of said everything there. The thing is, I don't see like Ueno and Ino being top point getters in the block.
Yeah. B block, you have Harashima, his third appearance, and a one-time runner-up. Daisuke Sasaki and Soma Takao in their third appearances. Yukio Sakaguchi in his second appearance. And then first appearances for Naomi Yoshimura, Bull James, and Masato Tanaka. Unfortunately, Bull James is kind of stinking up the block here. I'm not a big fan of him. But Masato Tanaka is awesome. I mean, look, you get to see... I mean, I'm really excited for Yukio Sakaguchi versus Masato Tanaka. That's just kind of like could be a really crazy match. Who stands out to you as the winner here? Anybody obvious?
I think if they want to go with the outside shot, Soma Takao. Because I think he's, like, as a tag team, he's done pretty well this year. Like, he has that new vertebrae finisher that's been winning matches, and he always has the official endless waltz. And yeah, like it's just like I said, there's always the same predictability. With like Harashima and Daisuke Sasaki would be obvious favorites, but if they want to go take a shot with someone new, like give Soma Takao, wouldn't complain about it.
You could also see maybe Masato Tanaka as the outsider winning the block if he's not going to win the entire tournament. Maybe.
I don't know. They just did that with Go Shiozaki in the last one, so I don't think they did.
That's true. Okay, so let's go through I'm going to go through the schedule here. It starts November 29th at Yokohama Radiant Hall. You have Naomi Yoshimura and Bull James. Are these in order of the actual matches? I don't know.
No, this is just like a block order.
Okay, so let's just go through them. So we have Takashita versus Yuki Ino, Ishii versus Ueno, and Chris Brooks against Chihiro in the A block. And then Harashima versus Yukio, Soma Takao versus Masato Tanaka, and Yoshimura versus Bull James in the B block. Anything stand out to you there?
Brooks and Hashimoto. Like, I imagine Brooks is really looking forward to that match.
The next night at Yokohama Radiant Hall has Takashita versus Ishii in the A block, Endo versus Brooks, Ueno versus Hashimoto. B block has Sasaki versus Masato Tanaka, Soma Takao and Bull James, and Yukio Sakaguchi and Naomi Yoshimura. My standout here is Takashita and Ishii. They had an awesome match for the KOD Openweight title, and I think either last year or the year before. So definitely worth checking that one out. And Endo and Brooks too.
Sasaki and Tanaka would be something to watch as well.
Yeah, I mean that could be really cool. December 1st in Chiba, only 3 tournament matches: Endo versus Ino, Sasaki versus Yukio Sakaguchi, and Bull James versus Masato Tanaka. Sakaguchi, I think, is a standout match there.
Yeah, that and I'll be interested to see what Ino's would be like against Endo.
Yeah. Then the Tokyo Itabashi Green Hall on December 5th. We take like a little 4-day break here. We have Endo versus Yuki Ueno in the A block and Ino versus Chris Brooks. And then the B block has Harashima versus Daisuke Sasaki and Yukio Sakaguchi versus Masato Tanaka. I mentioned that the B block here definitely takes center stage because, Harashima and Sasaki, they have a lot of history together. That could be a really good match. And I mentioned earlier, I'm really looking forward to Yukio and Tanaka. So,
yeah, no, I think Harashima and Sasaki was a King of DDT match earlier this year as well.
Yeah,
yeah,
and then we had
Endo versus Ueno as well. Like Ueno's kind of Ueno and Yoshimura are like the 2 guys I'm looking forward to seeing next year to see if they progress.
December 8th in Osaka at the Suminoe Maikon Hall. We're back to a 6-match show here. The A block has Takashita versus Ueno, Endo versus Chihiro, and Ishii versus Yuki Ino. The B block has Harashima versus Yoshimura, Sasaki versus Soma, and Yukio versus Bull James. I think obviously Sasaki versus Soma kind of stands out there.
Especially
Anything else on there?
Going on today.
Yeah. Anything else stand out to you there?
Endo Hashimoto.
Yep. Could be really good. And then we have the DO Grand Prix in Fukuoka on December 9th. A block, Takashita versus Endo. Ishii versus Chihiro. Ueno versus Chris Brooks. B block has Harashima versus Soma Takao. A lot of history there with the former Smile Squash. Daisuke Sasaki versus Bull James. And Yoshimura versus Tanaka. This is a stacked card.
Yep.
It's probably one of the bigger ones of the entire tournament, probably. Anything really stand out to you there? I really want to see Ishii and Chihiro.
I mean, it's just the first and sixth matches there, like Takashita versus Endo is always good, and like Yoshimura against Tanaka should be great.
And Harashima versus Takao, all that history too, could be good.
Oh, yeah.
December 10th in Hiroshima at the Astor Plaza Multipurpose Hall. Konosuke Takashita versus Chihiro in the A block. That's a big one. Mm-hmm. Ishii versus Chris Brooks and Ueno versus Yuki Ino, the Battle of the Yukis. The B block has Harashima versus Bull James and Soma Takao versus Naomi Yoshimura. What stands out to you there?
Just Takashita and Hashimoto.
Yep. And then it really wraps up with 2 days in Harajuku at the Tokyo Bell. He put Epic QA Beauty School Second School Hall. What a great fucking venue name. December 14th, if you don't know anything about like Tokyo, by the way, Harajuku is like the teenage like fashion / like
it's the fashion district.
Yeah, so the beauty hall, the beauty school, that totally makes sense. So that's a great venue. The December 14th in the A block has Takashita versus Chris Brooks, Endo versus Ishii, and Ino versus Hashimoto. I can't wait for Endo Ishii. They had, like I said, an awesome title match this year, so I hope they have another great one here.
Yeah, that'll be the match to look out for.
And then the next night has the last 3 matches of the B block at the same venue on December 15th with Harashima versus Masao Tanaka. That could be the one that decides the block, actually. Daisuke Sasaki against Naomi Yoshimura and Soma Takao against Yukio Sakaguchi. So some really cool stuff there, too.
And there's no Bull James.
No Bull James, that's true. So I don't think Bull James is winning, at least. Winning the block, at least. And then it wraps up on December 28th with the A block winner against the B block winner in the finals. So that's a Corkin Hall, of course. So yeah, some really cool stuff here. I'm looking forward to it. Very excited to watch all of it. So it kicks off in 4 days at the Yokohama Radiant Hall. Any final thoughts on the DO before I move on?
If you get the time to follow along with it day by day, it's really fun to do so. Just like any round robin tournament, really. Yeah, this is also the point where just the matches are just straightforward. You rarely get a comedy match on the show, so like maybe one, depending on, like, I don't know if Brooks or Bull James are in the mood for it that day. But straightforward wrestling, serious stuff. It's a good change of pace. Yeah, for sure. December 31st has the New Year's Eve Shuffle Tag Tournament, the other big tournament to wrap up the year, which is very much the opposite of the DO, which is all comedy, pretty much. There's usually at least one really good match, usually the final, but it's a lot of comedy usually. It's a DDT Big Japan tournament. So we do know the teams. I'll go over them really quickly. Yuki Ishikawa and Isami Kodaka, Ryoto Hama and Yuki Ueno, Yuko Miyamoto and Daisuke Sasaki, that might be my favorite team, Takuya Nomura and Tetsuya Endo, Ryuichi Kawakami and T-Hawk from the Strong Hearts, El Lindemann and Yuki Onaya, the big and little team there. That's kind of funny. Yasufumi Nakanoe and Yuki Ino, kind of like the big, I guess you would say like stoic, or not stoic, but like, I don't know, they both have a very distinctive look, I guess you would say. And Kota Sekifuda and Soma Takao, Daichi Hashimoto and Akito, Yuji Okabayashi and Antonio Honda. That actually might be my actual favorite team. Yeah, Okabayashi always gets the weirdest partners in these things. Yuya Aoki and Harashima, Ryuji Ito and Shuma Katsumata, Kazuki Hashimoto and Yukio Sakaguchi, Daisuke Sekimoto and Chris Brooks. What a team. Mm-hmm. Orka Udo and Konosuke Takashita, another great team. And finally, the Brahman Brothers and Naomi Yoshimura. So this is always one of my favorite shows of the year, but it's very wacky. So if you're someone who doesn't like the comedy, maybe skip that one. No, don't. It's one of the best shows of the year.
I love it. Look, I'm not, but if you're one of these grumps who hates comedy wrestling, you're probably gonna hate it. So, you know,
like I couldn't pick a winner out of that group yet. I probably might have to see what the lineups are like, but it's definitely like it's the best way to bring in the new year.
I agree. I love it every year. And then finally, the last thing I want to mention for that's coming up is the return of Muscle at Shinkiba First Ring on January 27th. The new tagline is strong variety and interesting wrestling. So that's kind of what they're going with here.
Yeah,
they're also changing.
I know what this is going to be. Like I said, it's whatever Muscle Sakai thinks of.
Yeah, basically. So there you go. That's some upcoming stuff. Now let's go through our DDT award winners. Let's start with match of the year. I made a top 10. Do you also have a top 10?
No, I just went with like 3 choices here. So
okay. So let me go through my 10 then real quick, and I'll join in with you at 3. So in 10th place, I have Shuji Ishikawa versus Kota Umeda from January 27th at Korakuen. In 9th, I have Yuka Sakazaki versus Shoko Nakajima from November 3rd at Ultimate Party. In 8th, I have Takagi versus Mao, the Weapon Rumble from the Coming to America show on April 4th. In 7th, I have Takashita versus Hirashima, the main event of Ultimate Party on November 3rd. In 6th, I have Akito versus Asuka, the one light tube match from Peter Pan, July 15th. In 5th, I have Kenny Omega and Riho versus Antonio Honda and Miyu Yamashita, November 3rd, Ultimate Party. In 4th, I have Tetsuya Endo and Makoto Oishi for the KOD Openweight title on April 28th at Korakuen. And then here you can join in here. What's your third place match?
So the third one, I'll get the exact name here, but it was the pool wrest. Oh, hold on. Jeez, does that come up? Can you hear me? That?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh yeah, it will be the. It was a 5-way tag match at the swimming pool. So that was Chris Brooks and Mizuki Watase against Daisuke Sasaki and Tetsuya Endo, against Takashita and Shun Makatsumata, against Hiroshima and Kazuki Hirata, against Michael Nakazawa and Kota Hashi. That was on 19th of June at the Sumida Sports Health Center pool.
In third place, I put Daisuke Sasaki and Konosuke Takashita from Judgment on February 17th, the main event. What'd you give second place?
My second place was the All Out versus Sendai Golds match from, it was from March. What's the date?
The Korakuen, March Korakuen.
The March Korakuen, yeah.
Second place, I have Tetsuya Endo and Keisuke Ishii for the KOD title from the May 19th Korakuen. And what is your match of the year, sir?
Yeah, the match of the year was Takashita versus Endo from Sumo Hall.
That is, or July.
Oh, no, sorry, from O2 World Gymnasium. So Wrestle Peter Pan 2019.
Yep, on July 15th. That is also my DDT match of the year, Endo versus Takashita. So we're in agreement there. Let's go through some other awards here. Best feud. My third, I went with Akito and Asuka. I really liked all the build-up, and then obviously it resulted in the one light tube match. So that's my third place pick. Do you have a third place for best feud?
And I didn't think much of this one. Like, can I just cheat and go with the Neo Bishiki gun versus Miyu Watanabe and Rika Tsubi?
Sure, why not?
Yeah, why not? Yeah, so I didn't realize how many picks that I were needed for the awards here. So kind of got.
So that's your best feud, okay?
Yeah,
and then I went with Tetsuya Endo versus Japan as my number 2. Just this whole thing where he came back as an American Punk. I thought that was awesome. So I put that as my number 2. And then for number 1, I went with Takashita and Sasaki. I really liked all their stuff earlier in the year, and it resulted in 2 awesome matches. So that was my number 1 pick.
Yeah.
Best major show. I went with DDT is Coming to America in 3rd, Ultimate Party in 2nd, and Peter Pan in 1st.
I went with the All Out versus Sendai Gold show in 3rd, Ultimate Party in 2nd, and DDT in New York as 1st.
Oh wow! Okay, so you really that. I mean, that show was incredible. So
this might be live bias, but like that.
Yeah,
it was just an incredible night.
Tag team of the year, I went with Naomi Yoshimura and Yuki Ueno in 3rd. Went with Antonio Honda and Miyu Yamashita in 2nd. 2 matches, but I love both those matches, so I'm giving it to them. And then number 1 to me is easily Sasaki and Soma.
Yeah, no, I just went with that with number 1. Like I didn't really go into much with the tag teams here.
And then most outstanding wrestler, so in-ring only. I gave Kota Umeda third. This is sort of just because he unfortunately had to retire and stuff. But I just thought his whole series was awesome. And then like all of his goodbye stuff was really good. So I really, I gave him the bump here, partly out of, just sad to see him go. I went Endo second and Takashita first. So that's
I went Endo third, Daisuke Sasaki second, and Takashita first.
And then finally,
sorry. No, I just want to say with Sasaki, he was kind of a jack of all trades this year. Like he had the only one as a top headliner in the first half of the year, but then transitioned to the tag team wrestler. So there's that and also he did a lot of hardcore matches as well as part of that tag title.
Yeah, I really thought about giving him the third place vote, so he'd probably be like a number 4. And then wrestler of the year, I went with Antonio Honda third. I think he just had an awesome year as far as like really showing what he could do to people who might not have been around for his, like the monster days and all that stuff. But yeah, I thought he was great. And then he main evented Super Bowl Hall, which I don't think most people thought would happen. And then that awesome match with Kenny, and Riho and Miyu in the semi-main and Ultimate Party. So I just thought he had one of the best years of his career. Second place, I went with Takashita. I think, again, he just had a great year as far as in-ring and, the Sunday Girl stuff, and then he ended up winning back the title. In first place, I went with Tetsuya Endo. I just think his title reign was the clear highlight of the year. He really fell off towards the end of the year, which is going to hurt him in like an overall ranking for me. But, I just thought his title reign was awesome. He really just was the highlight of the year for me. So he's easy wrestler of the year pick for me.
I was going to go like Harashima third. I was going to go second with Honda and Takashita first. So, I think that's the only difference. Just bring in Harashima for Endo.
Yes, I guess I'm.
But in this thing, I'm kind of stuck doing like the kayfabe route of like how successful was the wrestler and like Harashima being a double champion kind of pumps that up a lot.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought it was interesting that we both put the the Honda in there. I just thought he just had a great year. So,
well, I think with Honda, like that match with Kenny, like really kind of that's what shooed him in there. I think, or at least that like him getting that opportunity allowed you to look back and realize he had that. He had the Sumo Hall match. He had the just a lot more opportunities to be seen in front of more people this year.
Yeah, for sure.
And if we allowed talking about outside of DDT, he had that match with Lulu Pencil.
That's true. That did get a lot of buzz.
Yep.
Okay, so let's get into the mailbag questions before we wrap things up here. First, for Twitter questions from @MonkeyBuckles. Who do you think was most improved in 2019, and who do you expect big things from in 2020? Go ahead, Jamie. What do you think here?
I already 2020. I already said hopefully Yuki Ueno and Naomi Yoshimura. I might actually say Yoshimura has improved for 2019 because if you remember at the start of the year he had that stinger injury with Sasaki. Yeah. Remember he took that pedigree, so like see him recover from that and just be fully recovered again. Like thank God for that. Improved for 19, like. I would say Asuka because this has been the first year I've fully followed her career, and it's just what a revelation she's turned out to be.
At AWQ 1985, who do you want to see as opponents for the Saki Akai Challenge? You could really go with almost anybody. I would love to see.
We have two names already, like Tsukasa Fujimoto, and it was announced today that Sakura Hirota is her next opponent. So. That leaves 5 left.
Yeah. I would really love to see, anyone from Seedling, but especially Arisa Nakajima or Nanai Takahashi. Those are both be really cool matches. Anyone jump out at you as like someone that you would like to see that maybe even feels possible? Because I don't think they're going to work with Stardom.
Yeah. So is it too late to say Hazuki?
It might be too late to say it. Yeah.
Okay, well, seriously, Uroha, I'd like to see back. If Reika Saiki can come back to DDT, and if her jaw's okay, like the versus Akai for her first match back from injury. I'd like to see.
Mm-hmm.
The comedy, just let's say Miyu Yamashita and just pretend that her stuff with Taki Sama never happened, or just to see how they'll play off with that. Dash Chizako was someone like I wish more people would see, and I'd love to see her like doing more DDT and Tokyo Joshi stuff. Maybe Giselle Shaw. Have you seen her in Europe? Like she was in Tokyo Joshi earlier this year, but I've seen some of her European work, and like she's really, really good.
At RBX 2000, who are the top 5 Ironman heavy metalweight champions of 2019? Wow, what a tough one. I have to give a big shout out to Gorgeous Matsuno because that like we mentioned it, but that whole thing was amazing. So he would probably top my list.
Yeah, no, I looked through the lineup earlier. I'll put Parker in there just to be a charity case. Puma King actually won it a lot, and he brought it to Mexico. So I think shout out to him. There was that governor that won it, like how do you pronounce it? Ehime, Ehime. What's the name of that city?
Hime.
Yeah, but like the governor of that city became champion. I think a caretaker of Shinkeeper First Ring won the belt from Shinsuke Nakamura at the start of the year. And last but not least, there was the chair that pinned the other chair.
I was going to say the chair. Yeah, the chair is a great one.
But there was like 5 times the chair won a championship this year, but the one that specifically pinned the other chair, I'd go with.
At Mad Extreme, do you think DDT could run a one-off show in the Northeast on a non-WrestleMania weekend and draw similar crowd numbers to DDT coming to America? I think they could get 650 again. I don't see why not.
If they're in an area like New York, I'd say yes.
Yeah,
but I don't know. Like, I think a good way to answer that would be to see what it's like in Tampa this year when Tokyo Joshi run their show.
Yeah. At Regal Mustachio, first of all, he says, please thank Jamie for all his hard work on Dramatic DDT. As a longtime DDT pro fan, back to the days of Poison Sawada Julie's dancing and debauchery, your dedication to DDT as DDT grows is truly appreciated. So there you go. I wanted to pass that along, Jamie. Thank you.
Thank you, kindly.
And he says, what are his thoughts on the impact of Higuchi Amao's returns in 2020?
It would be good for the heavyweight scene. So Higuchi, and who's the second one he said?
Mao, I guess, when he comes back.
Mao. I'll find out. I'll be seeing him wrestling here in Ireland in a few weeks' time. So
he could be a guy that could come back and win the KOD title. So we're talking about the KOD title and everything.
Maybe. Like the thing with him is, like, I always got the idea that the DDT kind of saw him as the next Ibushi, and he just hasn't reached that level. I don't know. I'll see how he takes this European tour first.
And then he also says, any idea on what direction 2020 will take Takeshita?
I'm really curious about this AEW thing with Kenny and the storyline that Kenny thinks Takeshita and Endo aren't doing their work to keep DDT on the same level. So I figure maybe like a lot of outside work, hopefully.
Yeah, so I guess we'll have to wait and see. And then,
so I'm just saying, like, the thing is, like, I can see 12 months from now, it would be like Takeshita versus Kenny in the main event of AEW Dark with the KOD title on the line, and yet Dave Meltzer would still say, AEW should work with New Japan. That's not happening. It's going to be more of an AEW DDT relationship, and it's been pretty clear that's happening.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, you could even do. I would like to see, like, since you called out Takeshita and Endo, it wouldn't be interesting if that is like the spark for them teaming up again finally, like Takeshita and Endo against Kenny and some other AEW guy.
Yeah,
that'd be interesting.
That'll be a weird one, but my fear would just be like, let's say they make the jump over to America, they'll just be in the same position Strong Hearts are in, and that's just putting over the regulars on Dark.
Yeah.
I think they're too good for that.
I agree. At Hard to highlight, hi guys, favorite DDT comedy underrated moment. Mine is Sasaki telling Higuchi he is his father, only to take advantage of him. My favorite one, I teased this before, is because I love when they do those New Japan / Bushiroad parodies. Takagi taking over Gake no Fuchi Pro. That was like out of nowhere, but it was so fucking funny and clearly a parody of Bushiroad buying Stardom. So I enjoyed that.
Geez, but I kind of found a lot of the Pokoten stuff funny this year.
Yeah.
So I think the idea that he was actually just a robot, and when you behead him, he just goes crazy. Oh, actually, I'll also go in then Shoku Dino's attempts to seduce the owner of Cyber Agent or the president.
Yeah. And then the Discord questions here. First of all, from the Super JCast Discord, I always mispronounce your name, sir. Valky Braca, I think. Okay. Is there someone bumbling younger up-and-coming wrestlers on the undercards you can see becoming a serious main eventer for DDT? Because I have problems to see it, really. I think you pretty much said the same thing before, that you don't really see who's going to be the next big star on the undercard.
Yeah, I think that they're putting their hopes on Yukio Naya, but it's just I think he's more into the comedy side, so I don't know. It's very early with him. He's still young, and you can tell that he's going to grow into something. And that's. I mean, there's stats like maybe Ueno. Like Ueno's small, but I don't know. I just really like seeing him working with Yoshimura.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of hoping that's going to be like their next generation twosome.
Nuclear Potato says, would you like the Saitama Super Arena show to end up like Ultimate Party with all the DDT brands coming together for the big show, or focused on DDT specifically?
I'd prefer the latter. Like, it's a lot more fun just bringing everyone in.
And then Small Doink, with the announcement that Maku Donoto is leaving Udon Pro and likely head to DDT, how long would you wait to put the KOD title on him?
How long would it take for McDonald's to sue DDT? I think that answers that.
Yeah, I would say immediately, obviously, put the DDT title on him. But okay, so let me see. We got one more little set of questions here from the Forces of Wrestling Discord, where some of its stuff we already covered. So let's see. First of all, Don Waka, your thoughts on Naya, Ino, Ueno, Yoshimura, etc. I think we covered a lot of that, but I would say...
Yeah, I think I'll be repeating myself.
The one thing I want to say is I think Yoshimura still has some untapped potential, and he was such a great heel in DNA. Maybe eventually he'll turn on Ueno and get back to that.
Yeah, that'd be a cool idea.
And I think Ueno has a lot of potential too. I think we'll see something come out there, and Naya and Ino I think are more probably long-term comedy guys, but I guess we'll see.
Well, maybe with Yoshimura, like he's teaming with the Brahman brothers at the New Year's Eve show, so I think you'll see a lot of his personality shine in that. Yeah.
I mean, the crowd seems to like the tag team too, so that's good. And I think they'll have a big tag gear, and maybe they'll even win the titles. Lay Kamish, question Cody Hall, keep or delete? Delete.
If he gets Naya to improve, keep. Because that's what the feud was between them. It was to give Naya a win, a leg up, and now a tag team partner. So, look, if it develops him, so be it.
Liam McCann says, Ikemen's annoying noises or Ospreay screaming, which is worse. And so we could also throw in Daichi Hashimoto if you want to. I mean, if you throw in Daichi wins by a mile. I mean, that's the fucking Daichi screeching on that Big Japan title match was awful. But I like Ikemen's noises. I will be the only person on earth who finds the weird Ikemen noises somewhat endearing, I guess.
I like Ospreay. Just I love the guy, but yeah, like he sounds like he's been decapitated, and you almost wish he would be.
And then Prince said, opinions on younger DDT talent. How good do you think they are, and what are their ceilings? I'm glad we covered that because apparently a lot of people wanted to know, but we definitely did cover that throughout the episode.
I mean, this is a big question for DDT going into the next 2 years. It's just how is the new generation going to work out for them, especially now that they no longer have a feeder system.
Yeah, so we'll definitely have to wait and see. But all right, Jamie, thank you very much for coming on. Why don't you go ahead and plug the blog, plug your Twitters, and all that good stuff.
Okay, so the blog is dramaticddt.wordpress.com. I cover DDT Pro Wrestling, Basara Pro Wrestling, Tokyo Joshi Pro, Ganbei Wrestling. I'm going to have to cover Muscle again, and it's going to be that was a Gekko Nafuchi Pro thing that Miyako Matsumoto was doing. Like, I don't know, since Shiro Takagi is involved with it, I'm going to have to do it. On Twitter, I am at DramaticDDT for all the DDT stuff. My personal one is at Jamie OD. Go knock yourself out if it works. And I think that's all I have to do. DDT Universe is where you get to watch everything. I do recommend following at DDT_ENG as well for Mr. Haku's translations. I think, as he says, it's like he is, what's his phrase? Official but unofficial but authorized or something. Like there's some weird thing about him, but I consider he's the official DDT guy. I'm going to push that on him. And sweet fellow as well. Met him in New York. Like, can't really say a bad word about him, even if I already did. Just follow all that for the DDT stuff. Things are going to get crazy over the next month as there's the tournament, and the end of December is always crazy for DDT because they just do a load of shows at Kyokan Hall. Who knows what 2020 is going to be like? There's going to be interruptions with the Olympics, but they're going to do something about it.
And we know we're going to get Saitama for sure, so that'll be something.
Oh yeah, so the big show next year would be was it Saitama Super Arena June? Let me see what June is.
I don't remember the exact date, but it's definitely June, I think. Yeah.
But there's two important dates I just want to look up here before I go on. Wrestle Peter Pan 2020 is on the 7th of June. And more important than that, Muscle House 11 in the Budokan Hall is 6th of October 2030. So look forward to that.
I hope they really do it. I hope 10 years from now they really fucking get the Budokan for Muscle House.
They still mention it, so I imagine it's on.
Yeah. So there you go. Folks, you can follow us on Twitter at Wrestle Omakase. Wrestling Did Not Fit. And this is, like I said, the first of many year interview episodes. So if you enjoyed this, we're going to be right back at it with many more, 5 more actually, before the end of the year. So next week, I didn't want to do this. I said I wasn't going to do it originally, but I decided to do it after all, and for a very specific reason. World Wrestling Entertainment year in review. That is our episode next week. I am bringing on Garrett Kidney and Kelly Harris from Voices of Wrestling. These two basically, they were reviewing every single WWE show for years and years, and they finally gave up after Hell in a Cell. It finally broke them. So I felt like I owed it to the two of them for their service, reviewing every single pay-per-view that nobody else on Voices of Wrestling wanted to review for the past few years, to give their story, talk about WWE this year, and why it finally broke them at Hell in a Cell. So Garrett and Kelly, Garrett and Kelly, they're coming on next week to help me break down WWE's year. I wasn't going to do it originally, mostly because I barely fucking watched WWE this year, but I can talk about some of the stuff I have seen, and it'll be Garrett and Kelly really digging into that. So digging into why they finally gave up. So that'll be next week's episode. Look forward to that, I guess. So WWE Year in Review next week. Jamie, thank you again for coming on. Had a great time.
Yep, it's been an absolute pleasure.
And folks, we will see you again next time. Thank you as always for listening.